no punk. Never been the one to step down from a fight, even if it wasn't my own. I stayed ready, watched my back often, and decided I just don't have the heart to lose. Recently, I realized there are battles you cannot prepare for. Unforeseen circumstances you happen to find yourself in when what looks like an argument can easily turn into a death match. The police arrive at the scene just in time to decide who's the threat. I never did like being questioned by authority. So insensitive despite my tremble. Tears, my loss for words, I know well enough not to make sudden movements in moments like this today. I do it anyway. And when I do, he quickly reaches for his gun, anxious but afraid. Confident, still so unsure, attempts to hide the coward in his voice. He yells for me to assume the position. I'm trying my best to hold it together. When life takes too many cheap shots at our blind spots, like Delilah to Samson, like Tyson to Holyfield, cancer was the one that took a bite out of my mother. Robbed her of her greatest strength. This officer had no idea what he walked into, no knowledge of the disease that blatantly colonized her colon, had the nerve to creep into her liver so cunningly, even as I watched my mother plead for her peaceful compromise, chemo. Led her on just to continue to steal every last strand of hair on her head, then sends the doctors over to spit in her face that she was out of options, that there was nothing more to be done when she needed to be protected. Who could I have called about an emergency? Now, even as I'm forced up against my car, the officer threatening me to cooperate, did he forget what defeat looks like? How it feels, how to feel. Did he forget about his daughter at home, his mother, wife, children? Maybe I should remind him. It's scary knowing what I would do to win right now, to see someone else's blood other than my mom's for a change. I would give anything for all of this to change, but at this point, I'm human enough and capable of the most heinous crime. I am a threat. I was a kid with red fists and deep eyes, a temper hot enough to melt the sun. I didn't talk things out. I just went for the jugular, jaw, eye socket, but I swear, over the years, I've learned to cope with my words. How ironic that I'm face to face in a battle I couldn't find the words for or beat the mess out of. Cancer, mocking my mother right in front of me, and all I could do was stare it in the eyes and be angry, hold back my tears when I carry her out of bed. I couldn't pretend that this wasn't a losing battle. My mother raised me to see compassion even in the darkest places, to turn the other cheek despite a broken neck, and I didn't always understand or agree, which made it hard for me to see who was fighting the real battle, whose life was painfully flashing before them, whose hand needed to be held right now. I was losing to my temper while my mom was losing to cancer. The officer hovered over me, red in the face. I could feel his heart racing, remembering why he promised never to let his guard down on duty, because dinner was at 6. Because anyone would choose their family over a stranger. He wonders if this is what it was like for Maserly, Zimmerman, Wilson, right before they made the biggest decision of their lives. Then he anticipates my next move like he was trained to do. I get the feeling he's close to beating me to the chase, so before he does, I raise my hands, assume the position. I place them slowly on top of my car, plant my feet shoulder width apart, and I humble myself like my mother taught me to. She's probably wondering why I'm not back when I said I wouldn't be too long. He's still on his toes, and I begin to stutter. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I'm sorry for forgetting how to use my words, for not knowing how scary this job must be. I feel him finally take a breath, as if my apology was a good enough mirage, as if I just handed him a get-out-of-jail-free card. He remembers. Anger is always a secondary emotion. Resistance, a reaction I remember. His oath to the safety of my community. His family, his priority. We remember that pain and fear, they come first in incidents like this. He falls back just enough to barely whisper he was sorry that he could never be too sure. The other officers, confused, still in position behind him, but he watches me get back into my car. No music, no words. I drive straight home to be with my mom. She smiles when I walk through the door, jokes that she wasn't sure I was ever coming back. I adjust her pillow, Witness her eyelids fall gracefully over her tired eyes. I feel her lifeless hand grip mine firmly, like she knew how hard it was for me not to fight for her. Like she knew what I just went through. Never thought I would find comfort in a badge too close to a gun, but today, together, we were human.